The news simultaneously reached the Langobards and Gepid capitals of Areglia and Romula respectively. The news broke like 1,000 earthquakes, shattering the mantle of the earth. The women wailed, men fell to their knees and wept. The court of the countless kings was dead silent as the messenger finished reading the last dispatch from their heroic generals who were no more. While we perish, we pray that our people may prosper. The two high kings sat silently, staring at the grounds beneath them, as if it would open up and swallow them whole. The message reverberated in the silence. After an eternity had passed, he feebly waved his hand in a weak gesture, asking to be left alone. His words had failed him, and now his courage was failing him too. However, the message was quite clear, and the danger very clear and present. Crowds gathered outside the great hall. Two peoples, united in grief and despair, shuffled forward to listen to the High King speak. Last season, the Western Roman Empire has finally begun their major offensives across the two great rivers of Europa, the Rhine and the Danube, which has forever demarcated their territory and ours. Our capital is their goal. Our heroic offenses have thus far kept the Romans into the defensive positions and inflicted significant casualties. However, our self-sacrificing deeds could not prevent the Romans from reaching the outer defense perimeter of the capital. Therefore, our capital has become a frontline city. Defenders of the capital, prepare the defenses. The hopes and dreams of your children, wives, mothers, and sisters now rest in your hands alone. All males above the age of 12 up to 60 are to be conscripted with immediate effects. Prisons shall be searched for anyone willing to fight for coin or clemency. We shall throw open our temple doors and take the weapons which adorn our gods. Weapons stored in the sarcophagi of our ancestors shall be used too. That is sacrilege, shouted somebody in the crowd. The dead and our gods do not need those weapons. We do, shouted back the tired king. Our most precious relic, the great book of the Grudges, is being removed to a secure location as we speak. My most faithful thralls shall be entombed with it so that its resting place dies with them. I do not care if we have to break all our dams to make the river swallow it up. The book of the Grudges shall never be captured by the Romans. The women folk are requested to head towards the nearest recruitment centers. You shall be equipped with any and all weapons available. With their wives, mothers, and sisters behind them, the men shall not run, they must hold. Doom has come to our people. The devil himself was sighted licking his lips from the dead oak tree in the forest nearby. We shall weather this storm, and a new day shall dawn for the Langobard people. We fight not only for our existence, for our dear fatherland. We fight for our martyrs, whose last words were, "While we perish, we pray that our people may prosper." Ladies and gentlemen, lovers of war, traders of great renown, I, the Strategic Indian, bid you welcome to my channel, where our motto is think, practice thinking. If you like the content, please do not forget to like and subscribe. Also, leave a comment, which will greatly help with the almighty YouTube algorithm. We open the turn with some good news. The Huns and the Allens. Oh, this is better news. The Allens got eliminated. Probably got eliminated by the Huns. They were near them and they picked a fight. Grathankians we have encountered, so you know what time it is. It's time for war declaration. So let's go find out where the... that's I can't see them on the map. They're near the water. Can't see them near the water too. Where are they? What is this? What is this? Where what is... what? Okay, I have to go by name and find them. Yeah, this is weird. Send a boat across the entire Black Sea, half of the Mediterranean Sea. War just came into my territory. That's what you get. You get war. Okay, Stileko is going to swim in a sea of fire. He's going to go really into the danger zone. There are Saxons present in Tulifordium. There are Thuringians present in Lufurdium. And then he is going to go straight in the middle. He's going to swim in a sea of fire to go and burn the Book of the Grudges. The Langobards are not going to survive this. However, that will wait. First, I want to go after the Gepids. We have unilaterally revoked the right of existence treaty with the Gepids. They shall exist no longer. They have a gigantic infantry army coming in, filled with spears and peasant slingers. So I'm going to pick up mercenaries. Because I don't want the second army, nobody from this army which is coming in is to survive, because the garrison will get completely eliminated. And the other army that you see has got a single king. So if I kill the king, I can get a message, but the incoming army is pretty big. So this is the same city that we had with the Acadians. The barbarians have quite a lot of architecture, but we keep on returning to this one. We also had this with the Caledonians, and this is that very secure city. So there is a stronghold with only 2 entrances, and what we are going to do is we are going to place our cavalry on the far right flank so that they deploy over there. However, that is just a diversion, and we are going to punch through to the other side and enter the stronghold. I don't know where their main army with those gigantic number of spears and slingers are going to come in from, so we'll have to watch out. So we can see a general right over there, so that is probably the lone general. So the Germanic Cav will be more than enough to give that a very bad day. I'm going to move one of the scout equities to go after this javelin that they have present, which will stop that unit from firing. And we are going to move in our infantry to throw torches and set this tower on fire. First objective, set the tower on fire. Second objective, get rid of this stupid Germanic brigands unit. Try to chase it away so that it doesn't throw projectiles. It did manage to get quite a lot of projectiles away. And meanwhile, our other infantry are going to stand under the tower, and we have to endure a tower fire for a little bit, but after that the tower is caught fire, then our cohorts are going to move in, break that barricade, enter the stronghold. That's the plan. So I'm moving my comitatenses behind the spear, behind this fence, as we did in the previous turn, because our scout equities will still take a little bit of time to arrive. Meanwhile, our other comitatenses are trying to move in to start throwing torches. That takes a little bit of time and positioning. Meanwhile, we will just have to endure tower fire, and when you fight against the enemy, their tower fire is super accurate, but when they have to fire against when your towers have to fight against the enemy, then they are really retarded. So I still can't see where their main army is coming in from. We are chasing away their Germanic brigands. Our cohorts are entering. I can see above the unit card of the comitatense spear there are icons that they are throwing torches, so I don't even go in to check. So that's how you save time. So 40% of that is on fire. There, you can see that they are throwing torches. 3 units throwing torches. That tower is going to catch fire pretty fast. We have caught up to their brigands. They are going to be punished. There, we can now see. Oh, this is worrisome. They are between the city and the part that we're breaking through. So we have to move. Everybody has to go. Yeah, we have to right now quickly break through the barricade, and we have to go and get into the stronghold. We have to position before they catch up to us. Our Jeffcav has moved towards their general and is going to start opening fire. I am not sending my scout equities to charge the archers because there is another unit of Germanic levy. Why are these fundatories going that way? Go the other way, come on. Go the other way. Why do you want to run across, clear across the whole circumference of the earth to get into this place? Yeah, it really doesn't think sometimes. Yeah, oh man, look at this. Infantry, the cavalry just went and parked right next to this. Okay, that's why, yeah, that other army coming in really was a bit of a, unexpected. So, battlefield jitters. We continue to move towards the stronghold. Our cohorts, there you can see there is another unit of Germanic levy protecting their archers. Therefore, I didn't do the charge. And yes, our cohorts have broken through. We are now going to move into the stronghold. All your base are belong to us. So this is all ours. We are going to... yeah, everybody has to move in, and when you move at very tight angles, then they tend to crowd around, and movement is a little bit restricted. That's why the projectile units will have a little bit of extra time trying to get into the stronghold. Our cohorts are going to charge their garrison commander. He's just a normal Germanic levy. Now, our scout equities has nowhere to go except into the stronghold, because the mouth of the stronghold has been completely closed off by the incoming army. They are extremely sure of themselves. Meanwhile, I put my Germanic Jeffcav on skirmish mode so that they can continue to fire while I don't have to micromanage them. I'm moving my bulk of my army, of my cavalry now towards the main army of theirs. I'm desperately trying to get the projectile units inside the stronghold. As you can see, there is very little restricted amount of space, so it gets a bit hard to do. They don't move as efficiently because a lot of them are crowding around that little corner, and they are not able to run as efficiently. We have closed off of the nearer end. The nearer flank is closed off by one of the comitatensi spears. That comitatensi spear is going to be tired, and it has to fight all of these armies, so I don't expect it to do much of a job, but it has done exactly what I wanted to do. We have closed off this one end. Nobody is going through. Nobody is going through. These are heavily armored troops. That archer can fire all that he wants, but yeah, he is not going to get any kills off. I'm now going to put my cohorts onto the ramparts because I want them to start throwing the projectiles. My JFK went on a little stroll. Yeah, they do that sometimes. They just ran pell-mell across. My fundatories are all in. Now, why did I make fundatories? The reason I made fundatories is twofold. One, they are cheaper than Sagittaria. That's it. There is no second reason. They are cheaper. And actually the second reason is that I know the layout, and I know that I don't need Sagittarii to send out shots. This kind of a city layout gives me tremendous height advantage, so I can fire from a height advantage, and that if I fire down the fundatoris, that's more than enough to go and destroy whatever is approaching. So that is the main reason, and of course I get the job done for lesser money, and that's what I'm doing. Money is really tight. It's still very tight. It's getting there. Right now we are making, I think, 6,000 we were making, but in a few turns we will already start making 10,000. Now let's try to understand what is 10,000 gold per turn. One single unit of capital. So if you have to build one capital building, that is plus 3 order, and that costs 3,000 gold. Right, so we would have to think in terms of 3,000 gold. So 10,000 gold per turns translates to 3 capitals, probably 2, because we'll still have to do recruitment. We will have to do some emergency recruitment. So let's say 2 capitals. We have 38 provinces, so it would take us, with 2 capitals, it would take 16 to 18 turns before we can have capitals in each and every province. Certain provinces, for example in Hispania, already have begun to recover their morale, because their public order, because we put in governors with good household, so they have +5 order, so we don't need to actually get capital and public order positive in all of them, but say 15 turns we would have 15 turns from now we would begin to have capital on each and every one of our provinces. That's just +3 public order. On legendary difficulty, you get 33 to 35 public disorder, right? So if you want to understand the economics of this is total war, that is what you are up against. One, you are fighting everybody, so there is no peace, no trade. You could have gotten 5,000 gold per turn with trade from just the Eastern Roman Empire alone. But that's not going to be there, because we are fighting them. It's total war. You would get a lot of armies you would not have to maintain, because those are not pressure points. You might have great relationships with the Mauryaans. You would have great relationships with that other desert faction. I can never remember the name of Gadamantians, and that what is the one in the middle? Yeah, something. So probably in Africa you would not even need to build any armies or any public order buildings. You would stick in a general as a governor, and then you're set. So when you have when Total War Attila came out, you had people who would just willy-nilly burn their entire kingdom. They would just burn all of Africa, and then they would put out this tutorial and say, look, hey, I look how easy Western Rome is. There are still people with, like, if you want to play legendary Total War with the Western Roman Empire, it's so easy. No, it's not. You have really your hands full, and we are doing this without a single loss. So we are not going to give up any territory. We are not going to give up any territory that we capture. So that little town that we captured of the Scots, that is going to be held to perpetuity, because we are going to hold it. We are going to make buildings in it. That requires a lot of money, extra spending, or garrison buildings. So those are the challenges. So that is the reason you go in and get fundatoris instead of Sagittarii, because they have an upkeep of, 67 gold, and Sagittarii has an upkeep of 77 gold. That's how tight it is. So we have closed off either end. Our archers are sending out shots. So if I didn't have an archer, the only advantage over here of having an archer unit is that if your fundatoris run out of ammo, if all your projectiles are done, but you've killed the general, then what you can do is send out whistling shot, and that's really a clear advantage over just fundatoris, because fundatoris cannot do that. They can just throw pebbles, and pebbles are all we need to throw against these Germans. They have clumped up, thankfully for us. Our cavalry is mopping up like mad because, yeah, this one we will have to go in surgically. The reason is, if either of one of these armies survive, then I will never be able to catch up with the Gepids. Then if I burn their last city, I will lose all my movement points and I won't be able to catch up to that army, which will become a horde. Hordes are real pain because what they would do is that they are going to just go around, they will go into the shadow where you can't reach them, and then just like you saw in the Battle of Octodorum with the Varenians, a very weak faction with nothing going for them, they built a bunch of Germanic levy and jumped at us at Octodorum, where we didn't have any big army or garrison. And then we were in deep trouble, and luckily we got their general. We could send out whistling shot and win. So hordes, howsoever weak, are very dangerous, and that's what we want to prevent. Now you can clearly see the Funditores are sitting on these ramparts, and they are just hammering. These are really the cheapest units in the game, at least in the Western Roman Empire's roster, and they are killing 300 Germanic levies. This is just fantastic. Also, with our cavalry, what we managed to do is that we went in and we stopped their projectiles from firing, because if those hurlers could actually come into action, that would be pretty bad for us, because once they are hurlers, right? So they can fire flat, and if we had our Funditores or our cohorts on the ramparts, then they would fire at the ramparts and they would be able to hit the heads of the Funditores and the cohorts, because that is above the chest height. They appear as chest height above the ramparts, and then your units would continue to get hammered. So it was very important. We rushed our cavalry in and we took out their Germanic hurlers. Now, their general has been killed, so we are sending whistling shots, and that was the last shot we had because our Sagittaria ran out of arrows, so we couldn't alternate between fire shot and whistling shot, right? So look at our cavalry standing there like vultures. We're going to send out a few cavalry on the other side so that I have 2 cavalry on either side so that I would be able to capture everyone. So we went and did the mop-up. 97 people out of 3,964 people. Clean kill. Both armies out. The garrison is out. This is the end for the Gepids. Doom has finally come. They had sent out constantly armies against us when we were very weak. They came in one turn earlier. You could hear the disappointment in my voice and the sheer tiredness coming in, but this is the moment. We are going to level up this general. Flavius Neotorius is going to become a fighting general. He's getting his tradition smart, and that's it. The devil is licking his lips. Let's raise it to the ground. Gepids are out. This is fantastic. The Balkans are getting more and more fixed every time. Look at that beautiful destruction. Right. Let us now go over to Stilicho. He has got all the things. So if he fights this army, he will have to destroy Areglia, and then he will run back across the river because that's the only safe place. So he has to force march. The Langobards have pulled in everybody. They have scraped the bottom of their barrel and they have scraped in everybody, but we have a slight advantage. We won't go in for night attack because then their general, who's outside the city will not come into play, but we want everybody to come into play, and then we will destroy them as a whole. If this garrison runs again, we don't care. None of our business, no sweat of our backs. But that general who is coming in, that army has to be killed. So that has got only the general unit. So if we kill the general, then all those bodyguards are immediately nullified. We place horses on every end to intercept their general who is going to come in. So we put at least 2 horses on either flank so that they can hammer an anvil, or I put heavy projectiles so that they can go in and throw projectiles. I'm going to send in my raiders just to entice them to come out of the city. Let's see what they want to do. And I will constantly be scanning for where their main general is going to come from. Often they sit in this city, and that's a bit worrisome, because getting inside the city with all these towers is a bit problematic, because the main problem is the tower which is towards the center. So not towards the tower where my raider is going right now, the tower right there on the screen. That one, the problem is that when your raiders approach that, before they can throw their torches, so first they have to position themselves. There you can see they have positioned themselves, then they have to throw their torches. So that takes a bit of time while the tower will fire. There we can see their general, so that is priority. Okay, so when they will have to fire, they take a little bit of time while their tower continues to fire and get off hits, and every tower fires 4 arrows simultaneously, and there it's a really accurate. So your raider unit or whatever you send in to burn this tower gets hammered really badly. And you have a bunch of javelins which in the near zone is absolutely devastating. So it's very difficult to set those towers on fire. We know where their general is coming in from right now, so we are going to turn our infantry around with our pikes to meet them.
The tower has been destroyed. This bodes well.
Meanwhile, our and in this fight, we have to make sure we lose the least number of people. We have 2 great fights ahead of us. There are the Saxons who got humiliated, so they have a gigantic amount of grudge against us. We also have the Thuringians who have a full army near in their city, which will still be in range. So we cannot go up to that tower and try to set it on fire and then bring in our projectiles and slowly whittle them down. That's what we can't do in this fight. So we have to entice them out of the city. That's the priority number 1. We have to preserve everyone, especially our cavalry. So one of our cavalry had to go forward and then set fire, and there in that act we lost 20-30 horses for nothing. So I'm keeping 2 comitatense spears back because if they rush us out of the city, we will have our backs turned, and that general might engage us at the worst possible amount of time, and we might get too hectic that it comes from either end. And we have pikes, so pikes will be really nice to fight against that general, because the pikes will keep that general in bay, and meanwhile, as soon as the pikes stop this general, we can do a hammer and anvil with that raider unit. Raiders also have a rapid advance, so they can do a charge while moving 50% faster, and that is just game over on that general. So we are moving our infantry on either end. We are being cautious, constantly scanning to see for opportunities, thinking maybe we can move forward 1 unit of infantry to absorb arrows from their Germanic bows, just keeping it beyond the edge of the tower and within the range of the Germanic bows. The Germanic bows at the maximum range do not do that much damage to our competency spears, and if they are in stationary testudo, yeah, then we don't have much to worry about. But towers, yeah, if we are within the range of the tower, that will be really troublesome, because one tower will do a direct hit on the competency spears and it will kill it. So there you can see that Germanic bows are beginning to fire, so we are coming into position. When you destroy two towers and say some of their bow units have finished their ammunition, then they might come out of the city. That happens. So that's what I'm actually trying to trigger. I want this army to come out. I don't want to give it the privilege of being inside the city, having urban warfare, and then fighting under towers. That is really the nightmare scene. The general is charging into pikes. Yeah, good luck with that. Meanwhile, our raider units are moving around back leisurely. We will first throw our projectiles, and then we are going to do a 50% rapid advance, and that will be pretty bad for the general. So competency spears are in position, getting arrow fire, 160 out of 160. That means it's a textbook. We're going in for the charge. Let's watch the charge. Here we go, full charge, plus 50% speed. Bam! That's that general, a high king of the Lombards. Yeah. I'm gonna find your Book of Grudges, son. Oh, okay. Mention Book of Grudges. They're coming out of the city. Oh boy, yeah, that's the most precious relic I've mentioned. Oh no. Okay. Yeah, okay, so we have to quickly move. Because our projectiles are in a terrible position. Our competency spears are in a bad position because they were in the wrong place. We killed the High King, so yeah, screw your Book of Grudges. I'm going to burn it. They used to use a type of sponge on a stick in the public washrooms for sanitation in ancient Rome. Because they didn't have toilet paper in ancient Rome. But yeah, the great Book of Grudges, yeah, super absorbent. It's good stuff. So that's we are going to catch the Book of Grudges now. Let's go. Come on, let's turn our infantry around. We are going to make as wide a line as possible. We'll have to watch out for their Germanic brigands, because those are very dangerous units. Our group 2 is walking. Run, don't stand there. Okay, I see a clear chance. I'm going to be a bit cautious because Germanic brigands can fight even if they get charged, and you don't pull off very good charges on them because they begin to start with the skirmish ability. So they are already moving back while you are charging them. So you don't pull off a very nice charge. Our other raider is moving behind so that they can go in and disrupt those archers from completely dissolving our raider who has moved in. So we have to be moving constantly so that they don't get off hits. I'm going to move that other raider unit while the second raider can still cause maximum amount of distraction. So we don't want those arrow fire to begin. So we have to move through. Because we have to preserve all of our cavalry to the maximum level. We have a very dangerous fight ahead of us. We have two armies of the Saxons, and that's not to be joked at, because while it shows they are half strength, what the AI does, that while you can recruit 3 units of whatever competency spears, cohorts or whatever, the AI can magically get 6 units per turn. So they can come at us with a very large army. The worst offenders are, of course, the Sassanids. Whenever you fight the Sassanids and you see, oh, they have one army with 2 people, nothing in it, and then next moment there are 4 armies which have each recruited 6 units of whatever pagan bands or whatever they do recruit, and then they have done 24 units they have recruited, and they have now attacked you, and there's nothing you can do about it. So be careful when you fight the Sassanids. It's a whole different ball game. They are just the master of Berserk Rush. Very, very dangerous unit indeed. Our projectiles are now going to start. We are moving our pikes forward so that we can hold them in place. Our mobile projectiles have moved around the city,
The enemy is attacking our
and
general.
our foot projectiles are moving again stupidly as always. Mobile projectiles are giving them away so that we don't get into friendly fire. Our raiders are kept on either flank so that we can quickly change and look for opportunities. There, we can see they're hiking from inside the city. He is also coming out. This is a whole hornet's nest we have kicked up. We have kicked up the entire hornet's nest. Their axes are coming out. And what I want is their infantry line to be caught up by our pikes. If we can catch up their pikes, then these guys are done. There. They come into the absolute edge, and meanwhile we are going to send in our mobile projectiles are able to position very nicely. We are moving our raider cavalry forward so that we don't waste ammunition on the Germanic brigands, while we make sure that our foot projectiles doesn't do a volley, because if it does, we will kill off all of our raider units in friendly fire. So it's a bit wasteful. I think I should have done much better in this. A lot of people died for no apparent reason. We are going to move. Therefore, finally, I realized that we are taking way too much damage. So I'm going to move everybody back. Everybody pulls back. General pulls back. Stileko go back, and that gives us our mobile and our foot projectile enough space and time to donate their ammunition. Our raiders are still poised, they're on the wings, so then they will look for opportunities. I always check above their unit card to make sure they are not being fired upon. There, we have dissolved their X unit. This is the last charge, the last huzzah of the Langobards. The king is trying to close in. They have the pike line ahead of us. The arrows are coming in from the side. This is the end. The sun is set. This is almost the end. Our projectiles have clear shot. Look at that. We are going on a heavy shot. Our raiders are swooping in like angels of death. And we can see the numbers just dwindle. The High King is trying to close in. Let's go in. They are getting fired from every end. They're getting fired from the front. These javelins are doing massive amounts of damage. There, the courage of the High King himself has now faded. The sun will set on the Langobards. There we go. Everybody died. They did so many attacks. They sent 2 armies at Colonia Agrippina. 2 armies. A third army they simultaneously sent out to Iuvana. And that's where we entered their Book of Grudges. Then they sent in 2 armies at Augusta Trevororum to besiege our tier 2. Then they sent in and raised this last ditch army to try to protect themselves. But yes, their best abilities, they did their utmost, but that is not enough. Western Rome prevails. We have captured the Book of the Grudges, and we are going to burn this Book of the Grudges. Nothing shall remain of the Langobards henceforth. We joined together our battered raider units who fought heroically. We shall have to fight a bunch of their dog units, a bunch of their spear units. We'll have to find the Thuringians. And in memory of all of our brave sons who laid down their lives at Colonia Agrippina outside of Iuvanum et Augusta Treverorum, we end the Grudges with the Langobards. The book of the Grudges does not exist anymore. I hope you are enjoying the This is Total War with the Western Roman Empire. I'm going to just say what I'm going to do. I'm going to cross across the river. I will be force marching because I cannot fight on the open ground without any anchor. So the river will be the anchor so that the Saxons will have to cross. But that of course does not give us protection against the Thuringians. But I'm more scared of the Saxons because they will have two armies which they will be able to recruit troops in. That will be it for this turn. Thank you very much and I hope to see you back soon. This has been the Strategic Indian signing out.